Hello. We're live from the Center of Peace, and this is the Oracle. And I have a lot of information to share tonight, a lot of stories to share tonight. It's been a very wild time for everybody that I've talked to out there. There's an extreme energy of ups and downs. So what I thought I would do tonight, we're going to do just a very tiny meditation to kind of clear and center our energies. So, and if you've meditated a lot or you've never meditated, this is the kind of meditation you want to do because it's guided. You don't have to get in a weird position or stand on your head in the corner or worry about blocking out outside sounds. It's very organic, whatever you hear, whatever you see, whatever you feel. We're just going to do a little guided meditation that we're already in present time, we're already in now, but we're going to clear out any interference because, and I'm going to explain this tonight because I was guided earlier to talk about psychic attack, demonic energies. It's not a subject that we often go into, and it's a subject that a lot of people don't understand, but they're real. And when a lot of people in New Age thought want to think the evil doesn't exist. Evil exists. And we're living in times where the last of negative energy is coming to a head. All evil is it's something that is veiled. If you look at the word evil, it has the word veil in it. So it's when things are hidden away, they become dark and they become stagnant. It's just like when we have skeletons in our closet or things we don't want to share with people. We think we have to hide through shame or fear or guilt. What happens to those things that become closeted? They become huge monsters. They become huge things that capture you. So, and in many ways we imprison ourselves. But there are other forces that rule this earth, and they rule through fear. So let's just do a very short meditation, guided meditation about clearing fear. And I want you to feel how safe it is to be in this space, wherever you are. If you're here with us or you're out there in your own home, whatever's going on with you, we've created a safe space for you to heal, to learn, to receive energy. I want you to feel the stress and worry and fatigue of the day just draining right down to the earth. That's why I like live shows. Somebody else is coming in. They must need to come on in. Uh-oh. Do you mind? Oh my God. This is good. And we have more reinforcements. We have more people that are part of this story I'm going to talk about later. They showed up. Wow. It's wonderful when the pieces of the puzzle come together. Wow. Okay, good. We're doing a little short meditation to clear fear, which is how dark forces grip our lives and control us. So, again, just feel how safe you are to be a spiritual being in a physical body on the earth at this time, to be who you are. It's not about being somebody else, it's about being who you are, being in your life. It's safe to receive unconditional love from self, others, and spirit. It's safe to give unconditional love to self, others, and spirit. I want you to feel the tremendous energy that's going on in the outer world. And to many people, it's very frightening. It's overwhelming. It's tumultuous. It's the group emotional body. It's the group energy that's shifting and transmuting energy right now. So I would invite all of you to know that the outer world is a mirror reflecting back to you what's going on inside of yourself. And instead of being separate or thinking in a separate way. Know that there's only one big universe, there's only one big body of energy in that universe, and you're part of that body. And I want you to feel how good it is, in spite of things you may be going through right now that are heavy, that are conflicting, that seem to be in opposition to you. Again, I've likened this many times. It's like being in that transitional stage of labor where the baby's in the birth canal and you don't want to be pregnant and the only way out is out. So I want you just to feel in your own life how safe it is to know that what you are experiencing is part of your journey. And if you resist it, if you try to separate from it, it will be very painful. If you breathe, if you welcome and embrace where you are and move with what's going on, you're going to be rebirthed. You are birthing yourself. So again, I want you to feel the safety of the earth. We are not living on a dying planet, a polluted planet. The earth is moving. The earth is healing. The earth is shaking off the parasites from her. The energy is shifting around as you're shifting around. We're not separate from spirit, self, or others. We are one big energy. But I want you to feel in your own personal life where you've been holding pain, where you've been holding stress. And how do we know that? The last stop is the body. So just in this moment, feel where there's a discomfort. Feel where there's a ache or pain, or you might be experiencing things moving around the body. But right now there seems to be a lot of energy that's concentrated in the heart, in the chest area, in the lower back, because we're all going through the last of healing the illusion of separation and feeling not supported. When you have back issues, it's about not feeling supported. So there's a lot of tests and trials going on for people right now about who can you trust, who do you want to be around, who don't you want to be around, what is going on. And it's about learning to trust yourself. So I want you just to feel the strain and stress and fatigue and wear and tear of the day, of the last few days, the last few weeks. Feel the magnetic pull of the earth, and it's pulling you in a good way, so you feel safe and secure. But it's pulling out the toxins of the mental, spiritual, physical, emotional bodies. Just let that energy move through every cell of your body. You are one with the earth. You are one with the energy. Let go of the pain. Let go of the suffering. Let go of the worry. Let go of the fear. Let it move. And a lot of you have been feeling a lot of heavy energy around the neck, around the shoulders, around your whole being. As we're turning into light, as we're healing, there's like a sludge or a toxicity that comes up that needs to be, it's a filmy energy that needs to be cleared. And it always appears to me like a heavy wool cape that's gotten wet. So just imagine that you're loosening at the neck here, just unloosening this heavy wool wet cape and let it just fall away from you. Let all the things you've accumulated from other people, from things that are no longer relevant for you to be concerned about, just let it drop to the earth. And I want you to remember that we are like walking trees. It's a great mystery of what is the tree of life. Your body, your being, you are the tree of life. And on the bottoms of your feet are hundreds of wheels of light or chakras that are like a root system to go down deep, 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 deep into the center of the earth. It's a wonderful, magical thing. You're rooted deep into the earth. You're not standing on the surface. You are an organic part of this earth. I want you to feel that connection and how safe it is to just be one with the earth. Let the negative energy be pulled out by the magnetic pull of the earth. But I also want you to feel, as you're feeling the energy draining out that's negative, I want you to feel the positive energy, the strength, the nurturing energy that is abundant in the earth, coming up through the bottoms of your feet, up through the body, into every cell of your being. And I want you to feel the energy moving around the head, the crown chakra. You may even already feel like your head's itchy or like a energy moving here. Babies are born with a soft spot. This is our spiritual umbilical cord. And I want you to imagine that this crown chakra, crown energy field here, connects you to the energy of the sky, the electrical energy of the Father, Divine Father. As you're feeling yourself being safe, grounded, rooted into the earth, I want you to feel the electrical energy being attracted to the magnetic energy and pulling down through the body. Just let this amazing electrical, alive energy that's here, let it come down into the body. In accordance with each person's free will and highest good, we ask the bodies to align into present time. We ask the divine blueprint to come into full activation. We ask all the fear that's kept you in bondage, that's kept you trapped in limited thinking, it's kept you trapped in a reactive way to your life. I want you just to let it go. And there's a great healing that's taking place on this earth right now with people and situations where there's been an estrangement, where there's been blocks. I want you to feel the energy moving up. We're going to jump right to the central sun, to this solar plexus area of the body. And I want you to imagine that this whole central area of your body, if we are made in the image of Creator and we are the microcosm, the center of that universe would be this third chakra, this whole area here in the body. I want you to imagine that there's the most beautiful orange, yellow, vibrant sun. It's your central sun. It connects you to the positive ego. It burns up the negative ego. It transmutes the fear. I want you just to feel the safety of having energy within your own being. It's safe to remember who you are while you're here on earth. It's safe to be who you are. It's safe to be in your life. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is not a trial run. This is your time on this earth to bring into manifested form all of who you are. Not pieces, not hopes, dreams, old patterns that don't work. It's time to, in full confidence, bring all of who you are as a being into this life, into this level. There's no more time to procrastinate, no more time to think about things or wish this would happen or want that to happen. I want you just to feel the power of the center. And the reason I'm jumping up into that area, everybody's already kind of up in this solar plexus area tonight. And ironically, it's one of the most vulnerable areas. You know, people always want to kind of protect their stomach, or you feel it's where we want to hide how we look. People are embarrassed about their stomachs, embarrassed about this part of their body. This is your power center. And as you feel this beautiful orange-yellow sun energy that's within your own being, I want you to let it go into every cell of your body, killing the viruses, killing the disease, the miasms, cleansing, purging, transmutation. You're like the phoenix right now. You're going to rise up from the ashes of your former selves. Let this fiery furnace, this fiery energy that's you, let all of the old things that are no longer burning, just let them burn up. Let them transmute in this part of the body. One of the greatest gifts that we've all been given is the gift of co-creation, the gift of free will. So I want you to feel again, we're kind of moving around the body tonight instead of going in order of the energy fields because it's how it's coming in. As you feel this central sun, I want you to go back down into the sexual reproductive area of the body, and I want you to visualize the color red. This area of the body is not just about sexuality or reproduction. It is how you can create new life, new cells, new energy within your own being. It's a center of creative expression. And through many different ways, people have been told they're not creative or they're afraid to feel free. Little kids don't care what things look like, feel like when they're drawing or playing or dancing or singing. They're just free. I want you to go into this red energy, this powerful red blood energy, and I want you to feel like a little child who's free from judgment of others about how you create. Because when we don't use our creative expression, it turns into destructive energy. So I want you to feel this vibrant, red, wonderful energy. Let it, again, go into every cell of your body. Let it move around. We ask any blocks that exist in the creative center. You may have blocks of limited thinking or being told you're not creative or having the idea that to be creative it has to be you have to be able to paint or draw or do this or do that. No, you are a co-creator. There's many ways that your being is on this earth at this time to bring into this level your unique expression of who you are and connect it in the outer world. Many people are going through shame, guilt, fear, abuse, molestation issues, memories coming up from childhood, from earlier times. Again, we ask for a clearing and a healing of ways that you may have held on to shame, guilt, fear, abuse, molestation. This is how the dark forces work, the negative forces work to keep you captured, is through fear, shame, and guilt. And I want you to let go of any judgment about things from the past that have happened, things you may have done. Just let go of judgment. Know that this beautiful creative center is part of you, it's part of your expression, and it's how you literally can regenerate. We ask all pictures of death to be turned into pictures of life, all pictures of fear to be transmuted into pictures of unconditional love and truth. We ask all pictures of aging to be turned into pictures of youthing. There's a transmutation that can occur within you that will bring life force into your being to reverse aging, to reverse disease, decay. We've been controlled and programmed to die at a certain time, or to think, well, I'm getting old, so this is what's going to happen. I want you to feel how alive you are, and I want you to bring this energy into every cell of your body, this life force. There's a very misunderstood chakra that's called the root chakra. And it's the color of black because it's the color of the soil. And again, remember, you're a walking tree. You can move around, but it's the great mystery. You are of the earth and of the heavens, so you're connected in the heavens to the stars, to the galaxies, to the energies up there, but you're deeply rooted into the earth as well. And the root chakra is like a giant taproot. It's located in the perineum, tailbone area of the body. And again, it has the same properties. You can, as you feel this root chakra taking place and going deep into the center of the earth, again, let go of anything you've been gathering up. Let it go. If it's negative, just let it drain out. But also know that there's amazing energy that can be gleaned from the earth to come up in the body that's restorative from this energy. You're safely grounded, rooted into the earth. You're safely connected to the heavens. And now the biggie for everybody. Let's go into the heart. I want you to feel how safe it is to open your heart to unconditional love. We've all had abandonment, rejection, judgment, separation, unrequited love, death of a loved one, divorce, difficult energies, conditional love. I will love you if you do this. I will love you if you don't do this. Or I won't love you if you don't do this. We all know about conditional love. It's what creates all the attachment and pain in this part of the body. And as you feel your heart, lots of people have been having, again, pain and discomfort in the whole chest area. The important thing in this life is how you feel about you, how you love you or don't love you, how you are with yourself. So as you're in this heart area, I want you to visualize the most beautiful color of green, the color of healing, but I want you to let it radiate out, not just in the heart area, but through the whole chest, the breast, the lungs, the shoulders. There's a higher love, there's a higher spiritual law, there's a higher love that's about unconditional love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. You can't love your neighbor any better than you love yourself. And everybody's been going through the last few weeks, the last of self-doubt or being aware of where you made mistakes or where something wasn't right, or, and the way to heal things, many times we become aware of what we don't like, what we don't want, what's not working, and becoming aware of things about ourselves that make us uncomfortable. And I would invite you tonight to understand and know that there is nowhere to run, there's no place to hide. All karma is self meeting self, meeting self, meeting self. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It's like the Eagle song. You can live your life in thinking you were in the chains, but all the time you've had the key. You've got the key. We've all self-imprisoned ourselves. We've all kept ourselves away from our authentic self, away from unconditional love. So I want you just to feel tonight there's a really expansive, warm energy moving through the chest area, through the heart right now. When we armor ourselves, when we don't heal pain, when we experience, for whatever reason, the loss, the death, the unfulfilled things with people, we start to want to protect or harden our hearts. We want to put barriers. It's like putting a Band-Aid over cancer. And I'm telling you right now, the healing that's taking place on this earth is in the heart chakra. It's in the emotional center. So things that you have denied, repressed, didn't want to feel, the unfinished business with people, with relationships, it's activated right now. It may feel confusing. It may feel like you want to do anything but be in this heart center in an open way. But I invite all of you to know that what kills people and what causes the pain is when you open and close this heart. And I'm not just talking about the physical heart. I'm talking about love. I'm talking about unconditional love. There's a time coming when all people will understand how to disconnect from being in a reactive place to others and to what others are feeling or doing or thinking. There's going to come a time when this open heart, this compassionate heart, this beautiful, open place where you feel safe enough to be open and stay open this place in your being that has absolutely nothing to do with what other people are feeling, thinking, saying, how they see you, don't see you, feel about you, don't feel about you. You're healing the attachments. And to heal the conditional love and to heal the attachments and the codependence with others, you're having to embrace it. And you're having to experience it. And it's a primal experience of separation, of when we come to this earth and you feel the separation from spirit and then separation from the mother at birth. It's a primal experience. But as we're going through this healing of separation, and we know that everything is a process and everything is in one place, you will start to feel more and more and more that there is no separation, that your day, your life is not based on what this person wants from you or thinks about you, or if they care or don't care, or what they're doing or not doing. And it's a hard concept to grasp totally right now, but it's what is happening on the earth. It's what's happening within our being. So I want you to feel the safety. It's safe to be alone and not lonely. It's safe to connect with the inner beloved. It's safe to know that within your own heart exists your inner soulmate, your inner beloved. The inner psyche of a male is female, the inner psyche of a female is male. The anima and the animus, as Jung would call it, the yin and the yang. And I want you to feel how complete, how whole you are from within. I want you to feel that search for God, that search for the soulmate, that search for something out there, you have this within yourself, and the degree to which you are connected with your own inner soulmate, your own inner animus, is what you're going to keep attracting to yourself to learn through. So if there are schisms, if there are fragmentation, you will keep finding pieces of things, pieces of people, pieces of experiences. The more you do inner work, the more you take time to go within, the more you find that peace from within. And to find that peace from within, you have to go through the pain sometimes. You have to embrace what is. When you resist, when you deny, when you have had hurtful, negative, heart-wrenching experiences, and you put up the blocks and you put up the scar tissue that forms, you're only going to feel more pain. There are two choices on this earth right now: fear or unconditional love. Fear-based reality brings in control, a need to control or be controlled. So I want you just to feel how safe it is to be open, be in the moment, and to feel this incredible energy that's in this space. It's all around you always. Healing, loving, nurturing you. You were created out of love by the Divine Mother, Divine Father. You were created as a unique individual to be on this earth at this time, to bring into manifested form all of who you are as a unique expression. It's not about being what your mother or father wanted you to be, or being what other people think you should be doing, or about being somebody else, or imitating something else. You have all of yourself and your wholeness, your oneness within you that's ready to emerge. So again, we ask that in accordance with each person's free will and highest good, on any level, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, that there are blocks, that there are patterns that are fear-based, that are toxic. This can be people, objects, ways of thinking, ways of doing things. We ask the Archangel Michael to sever those cords now. We ask them to be pulled out by the root. We don't want to just cut them off so they can grow back. We want to go back to the point of origin and pull out by the root all of the things that have gone off the divine blueprint. It's safe to receive unconditional love from self, others, and spirit. It's safe to give unconditional love to self, others, and spirit. I want you to feel the energy moving up through the throat, the sapphire blue energy. It's an electric blue color moving up through the throat, through the ears, through the teeth, through the gums. It's safe to speak your truth. It's safe to hear the truth. So many times we all do this every day. We are in a situation and we know what's right or not right for us or for a group situation. Instead of speaking up, we walk away and we think, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. It's your time to speak your truth, so you don't have to repeat what is not right again. And it's going to be easier and easier and easier to speak up. And it will be coming from a place, a centered place. It's not going to be a thing where you're worried anymore about, well, what will they think? Or is somebody going to judge me? Or am I going to hurt somebody? No, you will know what to do, what to say, to finish and complete something. That's why you have dreams all the time that are deja vu, where you go, wait a minute, I've had this conversation. I've been in this circumstance. It's like the Groundhog movie. You're getting to the point where you're not going to keep waking up and being in that same movie. You're going to complete the lessons. Do not be afraid of this, because it's what's happening right now. The illusion of separation is ending, and the healing of the fragmentation is ending, and the circumstances and situations that you're in are fulfilling and completing. Step into that empowerment. You intellectually know what's right or wrong. You feel what may be right or wrong. It's time to take action on what's right or wrong for yourself and move out of things that are not right for you. So again, I want you to feel the safety of speaking your truth, hearing your truth, other people's truth, coming up out of subjective reality, being able to go up into higher picture, higher level of perception. When you're in this highest level of perception where you don't have attachment to an outcome, when you get the big picture, then your true being makes the right decisions and knows and will be able to act on those decisions. I want you also to feel this healing energy moving through the throat, through the brain stem, the reptilian brain stem that we all have, that wants us to stay in fear, flight, bad or good, duality level. And we ask for a healing of that brain stem as it connects in a more conscious way with our higher self, with the higher mind. There are many choices. It's not about duality. And the best choice for your life is always to say every day, I only want what is for my highest good. So I want you to feel the energy moving up to the pineal, pituitary glands, the third eye, which is the functioning of the third eye, the pineal and pituitary. And it's connected with 2 pulse points in the forehead, which is why things are always shown that this is the third eye. We want to open and use this third eye in a balanced way. So I want you to feel the energy, this violet purple energy, opening this eye, opening this center. It's safe to see with the inner eye, it's safe to hear with the inner ear, it's safe to feel empathically. It's safe to have a knowing. Many people, everybody, all of you are intuitive, but it comes to people in different ways. It's just like animals have instinct, we have intuition. Some people feel, hear, see. Some people have a knowing. Some people have a gut feeling. We want this knowing, seeing, intuitive energy to come in a way that's right for each individual, so it can be used to help guide you towards things, away from things that will bring freedom for you and for others, by using the intuition along with the intellect, along with the rest of the bodies, to use it in an intelligent way. Because many times the third eye will get activated in people and then become very fear-based or controlling. And it's when there's some readers, and sometimes in your own self, you'll pick up on things and you'll go, oh my God, this is bad things going to happen, or this is, or you fall into that lower level of fear. So this opening with the third eye, we want it to be balanced. We want it to be in a place that's balanced with the heart, balanced with the mind, balanced with the spirit, not just a psychic level of perception. I call it the astral wasteland. It's where a lot of people get trapped. It's very easy to get trapped into the phenomena wasteland, where we're consumed with phenomena stuff. And phenomena is interesting, but it's kind of like a byproduct. There's many other exciting levels of consciousness than the astral level. So again, we want this opening of this third eye to be really connected in a balanced way. There's a beautiful purple energy also connected with the crown chakra. And I want you just to feel the top of the head opening, connecting, healing that illusion of separation from heaven or earth. We are of the heavens, we are of the earth, and there's no separation. The illusion is that heaven is there, earth is here. It's this fragmentation that we're all working through right now. It's safe to remember who you are, why you're here on this earth, and how to best bring all of your abilities into this level. There are many ancestors present here tonight. There are many people who have made transition. And we know that love never dies. And we feel this connection with them. And as you return to the consciousness of this room, this process of healing, learning, remembering will continue into the days, into the nights, into the dreams. And I want you just to let, again, the last kind of clean sweep through the body, mind, and spirit, the last of any negative umbilical cords. We want them to come forward to be removed. We're going to pull them out by the root, and we ask that the Archangel Michael again sever all negative cords that are binding. We ask for restoration of the body, mind, and spirit. It's an amazing thing with higher mind. When you are in higher mind, any of the lower vibrations, the lower frequencies that you've been going through, they fall away. When you're in this higher state, there's that knowing of peace. There's that feeling of the oneness. And you can feel and look and see all the other drama and trauma as the world turns going on, because it's going on for everybody right now. And the big key is we can't ignore that, because it's part of what we've drawn into our experience, but you don't have to stay there. You don't have to be captured by it. And you don't want to judge yourself and go, well, why do I get mad? Why do I get upset? Why do I get whatever? If we're made in the image of Creator, then I can tell you right now, this is the big mystery of Creator energy. Creator's not perfect. People who are very into dogmatic religion get very mad every time I say this, but we're made in the image of Creator, and we have every emotion of Creator. And so it's the great mystery. People, this is what's wrong with religion. All religions have elements of truth and are very good in many ways to help structure people. What happens with religion is when it becomes finite, when people want to make rules and judgments and get the idea of what God is doing or thinking, and that God's perfect and we're not, or this is this and we're not worthy, and it's all the stuff that when you're in these higher states of consciousness, which when you're a baby, child, when you're around animals, they live in that realm. They live in the realm of now. They live in the realm of purity, unless they've been abused or whatever. But they radiate unconditional love. They know they're safe. They know there's nothing wrong. They know that no matter what, it doesn't matter if you pet them, don't pet them, whatever. They're just in their space. They're just in where they are. You see little babies. You see little children. Again, if they hadn't had a lot of repression or control, they are beautiful, because they don't care when they're drawing on your walls, or or if you're, well, of course, a lot of parents don't allow those kind of things, but if children are allowed just to be babies and children and create, they don't care what their little songs sound like, what the little plays they're writing are about. They're just in this beautiful little space of expression. And by the time most of us are 6, 7 years old, there's been a conformity. There's been a control or repression of judgment. When I was going through school in Connersville in the 50s, I could never, the idea of art in the 50s and the first, second, well, actually all through grade school, was you had to do what the art teacher showed you as being what was art. Well, I could never do it. So I always got F's. And I always colored outside the lines. I have report cards in first grade. Colors outside the lines. I didn't see any lines, It was kind of like, there's no lines, so who cares? And I would only use certain colors. So it was great, though. I got to sit in the back of the class. That was my punishment. Weird concepts, right? But I think on some level I thought, good, just put me in the back row. I'll just sit back there. And they thought I think they thought it was stupid or something. I mean, it was like, why can't you paste this whatever thing under this little, didn't want to, I guess, you look back and think, but that was it's very repressive. It's a very repressive system when you're told you're not creative, when you're reflected that you have to conform. It's a very dark thing that happens to people. And I've mentioned this story many times in this. That's my first grade story. Second grade story was, I still have the report card, says daydreams in class. And I remember the moment that I got put into the hall because I was daydreaming, and I thought, oh, this is so good. I can just be away from all those other people. And the moment it happened was when the teacher, because I was so excited. I'm a very visual person, so the teacher is explaining how the earth is spinning through space, and and how because of the pull of gravity, we don't get thrown off into space. And I was like real tripped out on this. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. And I was like following what she was saying, right? I was like, wow. And I remember I was thinking, boy, there's the sun. I can go to the sun. I'm in the moon. I'm on these planets. I'm on the earth. I'm everywhere. And all of a sudden I hear, Marilene, Marilene, go to the hall. I'm like, and then they write, daydreams in class. No, actually, what I was doing was being very interactive with what they were teaching. But how would they know that, right? And it's a really interesting thing about what happens to all of us. It's not just my story. It happens to everybody in different ways. How it can be the most subtle or very overt way that through the years when we're young, we start to kind of go, whoa, maybe something's wrong with me, or disconnect or go inward instead of feeling safe enough to be in the universe. When I was a little kid, I remember all the time in my house, I was always up. My parents said, what are you doing? I go, well, I said, our living room is up there. And they go, what do you mean? I said, I'm on the couch, but I'm up in the ceiling. And I could easily, when I was a little child, just see the reverse, the reflection, the astral wasn't separate from me to see it that way. And it's really how it all is. And again, when scriptures of all religions talk about except you become a child, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven, it's very real. When you're in that child space that's not filled with dogma, they used to think too that, you didn't really know anything, so they had to teach you everything. They had to fill your head with knowledge or whatever, this kind of weird stuff. Babies and children know lots of things, and you know lots of things. I'm sure you all remember being small children and knowing when adults were lying. Or you would see something, hear something, and you would maybe be very honest, as children are, and the adults would be like totally freaked out because you're speaking your truth, like they say, out of the mouths of babes, right? So there's many subtle and overt ways that we have given away our power. We are in a time right now that oh, I love the birdie singing. This beautiful, innocent, childlike energy that we all have within ourselves wants to integrate with our adult self. And we've gone through years of healing codependence, healing the wounded child, and I'm not making fun of any of those therapies because they were where we all were. Your inner child's not wounded or broken. Your inner child, that's part of an illusion, really. There's a real, all of us still have, no matter what's happened to us in this life, other lives, whatever, there is a purity, there is a sweetness, there is a blissful, joyful part of your being that's always there. It's always been there. And it's a matter of feeling safe to let that out. And knowing that your life and how you are living your life and the happiness, we can no longer base it on what other people want us to be, think we should be, or how when we don't get what we need or want. This is the toughest one because we've all been raised to be very codependent. We've all been raised to look for the signals from other people if they disapprove or if they're not doing what we want or how, whatever. And it's a very hard process that we've all gone through. But it's a universal energy that is here right now, it's like physician, heal thyself. It's the same thing. Be the lover of your own soul. If you don't love you, if you don't love yourself unconditionally, you have to. It can't be based on what other people, if they're going to, how they care about you or don't care about you. And it's one of the toughest phases that everybody on this earth is going through. because it's so painful. And most of what people are experiencing right now is about, we're in the tip of the iceberg. So if you find yourself just feeling crazy and wild and blowing up and just all kinds of stuff going on, it's because this is just what's triggering you here and now. It's just a tip of the iceberg of deep, 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 long things that have been happening for a long time in your life. And when you get triggered, it's very important to feel what it is. Because what happens is most of the time we get triggered and then we start to feel overwhelmed and we start to go, oh, what is this? And then people will do anything they can not to go further into whatever that is. They want to stay in a reactive, separate place. And it won't work anymore. So no matter what you did or didn't do to deal with yourself, it's not working, okay? That's why people can't, whatever they used to do to avoid, it is not at all working. It's blowing up everywhere. You're going to see it in your home, in your work, in your every phase of your life. If you've had all the facades or ways you very cleverly have masked pain through work, through drugs, through alcohol, through anything, food, it's just not working. And it won't, it's going to be more and more where it's that way, that you can't run or hide. So I would encourage everybody, as painful as the truth that's being revealed, we're all finding out hidden truths too. There's some people here tonight I know are finding out hidden truth, and it's everywhere. I'm telling you, I've had some aha moments where spirits revealed to me things, I guess pieces of the puzzle. I've done extensive therapy and work on myself, and I've had some stuff happen just in the last few weeks that I never pieced certain things together that are just, eye-opening. And there's people that are actually finding evidence. I'm getting more and more, it's a common theme in my readings, where people are finding out truth about who their parents really were, who this person was, or why this person was in their life. Yes, I see some head shaking back there. Yeah, it's like the veil is torn. There's no more veil. It's torn. It's like in the ancient, in the temple, there was always the veil that held the sacred Torah, and it had to be shielded, and that veil is torn and rent in two. There's no more veil. It's all things that have been hidden for a long time of spirituality to keep people from true connection, and the way different governments and ways of thinking and philosophies and religions have ruled through fear are not working anymore. And so you're going to be finding that as the fear moves away, you're going to feel this immense power, true power. The truth will set you free. But we've been taught to lie, to make up stories because we don't want to hurt people. It's usually not a bad reason. I mean, when you're a little child, you're taught to be whatever. Little girls are especially taught not to express anger. Little girls are taught you shouldn't, whatever. And it's very disempowering because, and again, in our society, if women express themselves in a powerful way, then they're bitches. Men can be horrible bitches, but they're not called bitches. They're called men. You know what I'm saying? They're called, and I'm not men back. You know what I'm talking about. And it's the same thing. When men feel safe enough to express who they are as the inner psyche of a male is female, when they are integrated with that soft feminine side, they're called a pussy. They're called a weak. They're called this. They're called that. It's ridiculous. It's like this extreme duality has to end, because it's how we've been taught, is that this has to be this and this has to be that, but it's not what reality is. So we're healing that illusion of separation from all of the duality's healing. So we're coming into a time where it's not about this is another one of my pet peeves. I'm just going to say it, and if it bothers people, I don't really care. Because if I hear one, I mean, I get criticisms all the time, and I really don't care anymore because who cares? So, this is so another one of my pet peeves is, and I've always known this since I was a little girl. I've always thought that I've always had a perception of men and women in a way different way than how things were represented. So even in like I remember the early days of people talking about, the age of we've had cycles of the goddess and the god, or domination. We've had matriarchal cycles. People don't realize that. We've had huge matriarchal cycles on this earth. What do you think that Iraq was? It was Sumeria. It was Babylon. People don't realize Iraq was Babylon. And in Iraq were the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And it was some of the earliest goddess statues. These beautiful, it's when they worshipped the goddess, when they worshipped the Divine Mother. And the first written language about creation was Sumerian. And the story is, in the beginning, the Great Mother created everything, and in her loneliness created a son who grew up and said he created everything. And so then as the stories changed, and of course Eve was made from Adam's rib. But then we go, well, who was Lilith? She preceded Adam. And they don't want to talk about that story because that's a whole other story. I mean, there's a lot. You look at any mythologies or creation stories, and they have a lot of commonality. But so we've had these ages of where there have been misuse of energy by the matriarchal. That's why they fell too. There was definitely an age when there was this rule, when everything was matriarchal. A lot of the Native American tribes, the Creek tribe, which my great grandmother was a full-blooded Creek Indian, everything's mother. It's all matriarchal, and the men are her brothers, or her. That's how they get to know. They know the father, but everything, the true empowerment is through the matriarch and through the male members of her family, or what. And what's interesting, I was just reading about this last night. So they call all the men father, but they call all the women grandmother. That's why a lot of the Native American things are talking about the grandmothers. And again, it's going back to that Divine Mother or Mother Earth kind of energy. But again, the inner psyche of a male is female, the inner psyche of a female is male. So there's a lot of people in this time that, and it's always irked me with a lot of New Age thought, that now we're in the age of the goddess, right? And now we're going to kick ass on the men. Or whatever. I don't know. There's weird things, and there's power in going into, back in the 80s, back in the 80s and 90s, there were all these drumming groups, and there was men's drumming groups and women's drumming groups. And it was really cool, and I thought, hey, I think you guys should drum together. So there's the Unitarian Universalist Church here, and they have a huge big space. And for months and months, every couple of weeks I would have this thing, and at first people were like really cranky about it. They were like, well, we don't want to drum with the men, or we don't want to drum with the women. And I go, well, do your own drumming thing, but then have it. I'm not saying do this every night or every week. Let's do it. And it grew and it grew. And after a while, it was just this incredible thing. It wasn't about male or female, or it was just oneness. It was just this energy that would radiate out and really heal people. And of course, I was really thinking, man, this is really cool. And of course, then my son, oh my God, Merlin could bring humility to anybody's life. So at the height of when I thought, man, this is so cool, where everybody's having this great thing. And I can't remember how old he was. He must have been like 7 years old, 9 years old, 7 years old, 9 years old. I hired a babysitter. She was actually 20, 21. She's still to this day a friend. Hi, Becky. She's now getting her master's or doctorate in spiritual things in California. And her mother was actually with me when my mother made transition. This is the one person in the room with me. So we had Becky. And there were a lot of kids. So And it wasn't that we didn't want the kids interacting, but we were doing a guided meditation. And in those days, and we'll do them again, but I used to do these wonderful wheel of light meditations where you would be able to lay on the floor and everybody would touch shoulders and everybody's head, crown chakras were in the center. And so, it's about 80 people laying there. And there were probably 4 or 5 kids and the wild Merlin in the parsonage, we call it. So, right in the middle of the meditation, here come the kids, and they're like they're stormtroopers. They're like, they come running, and I'm telling you, they're like 7, 8 years old. They're not talking to big kids. They go, "We locked the babysitter in the parsonage, and we've got her cigarettes." I'm going, oh, well, of course you do. And people are going, okay, great. No, it was hilarious. It was like, and my life's always been like that. Just when I think, man, I'm really in the flow spiritually, I'm doing good, boom. There comes Merlin, or something. But it's how it is. But it was funny because it was a very interesting experience. And again, an important way for all of us to start to think about ourselves. Because the more even deeper inner work that we all do in ourselves, you really want to think, how do I really in my being think about love, romance, relationship? What do I really think about men, women? And we all have weird ideas, and a lot of them aren't really from experience. Some of them it's programmed in from society. People come in all the time, well, all women are like this, or all men are like that. No, not really. We're all just people. And every day I would invite everyone just to start to think in general of yourself as a human, as a person, as a citizen of the universe. I don't even, we have to get beyond male, female, black and white. I'm an American, I'm a Russian, I'm a Jew, I'm a Christian, I'm a this. When we are in those limited facades, it's fear-based. Then it's us and them. Then there's separation. And I always encourage people to do this as well. When you're doing your inner work, there comes a time, and it's one of the hardest things in some ways, when there's role reversals with your parents, when you are the parent and they're the child. And it happens to everybody at certain points. I invite you to go even beyond that. Because when we think about ourselves as a child, or we have a brother, or we have a sister, or we have a mother, or we have a father, or we have a boss, or we have all the labels we put on anybody, when you have the labels and when you're in the mindset of those labels, you have separation. And you have, what else you have? You have negative and positive expectations of those roles. And it's one of the worst things that happens to people, I think, in workplaces too. People go into work and somebody's the boss, somebody's the this, there's automatically, that must be an enemy because that's the boss, because especially if people have problems with authority figures. And as we know, workplaces, some people follow that book that was such a great book. The Peter Principle was written way back in the 60s or so. People keep getting promoted to their level of incompetence. Petty tyrants, you can call them different things. They abound. I think there's a plethora of them now. So again, take your power back. Don't think that this is your boss, or this is your this, or this is your ex-husband, or this is your whatever. If we want to experience wholeness, we have to come out of the lower mind that automatically wants to label something as a role. And it's a real functioning, our minds, yes, our left brain wants to do that. Our left brain wants to put things in compartments. It wants to say, okay, this is here, this is that. And again, there's nothing wrong with the left brain or the right brain, but I call being extremely in the other brain being euphanoid. It's the opposite of paranoid. You know, all know what I'm talking about. People that are very into everything's wonderful, nothing's ever wrong, the airy-fairy thinking, you're just negative, you're just, you know, whatever. Or cancel, I'm having a thought, oh, I got to cancel it, and then if I cancel it in my mind, it doesn't exist, that kind of stuff, you know, and we've all gone through those phases of, you know, but we don't want to be paranoid, we don't want to be euphanoid. They're the extreme opposites of that left brain, right brain. When you are in that union of the left brain, right brain, when you're in the alpha states, when you're in those higher synchronized states, you're not in the extremes. And that's why when they do studies on people that meditate or on the yogis, and there is no left brain, right brain, everything is just this oneness. There's just this incredible one energy. So to achieve that energy, it's something that will be a state of consciousness that will pervade this earth at one time. It will. But to heal that right now, we're seeing very ugly sides of the duality and ugly sides of division and hatred and all the things we're seeing in the outer world. Again, notice how all that pushes your buttons, but you don't have to be involved with it. It's about how you perceive. It's about you healing your own judgment of things, you healing the judgment of yourself, of others, or perceptions, limited thinking that we all have been programmed to think about people, groups of people, religious groups of people. It's easy to, you know, look at people and think, oh, blah, 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 or, you know, name call or do these different things. And it's not going to serve anything but the dark forces to stay in that level of division. But how do you, and this is where we get overwhelmed. People think, well, I'm only one person. It's like the 100th monkey thing. It's like it doesn't take everybody on the earth coming into higher consciousness. If you look at any scriptures, not just Christian scriptures, all the stories are always about the very few people who actualize enlightenment. The very few people who take the time to overcome death, hell, and the grave, to become loving, compassionate people. And their light lights the way for hundreds and thousands. It's not about the whole earth getting it. It's about a few people. You become like a beacon. When you are living your life in a way that's actualizing whatever your gifts are. And if you're living in that way of that compassion and unconditional love, it lights the way for others. And as we've talked about in past weeks, there's a difference between feeling sorry for people and having true compassion. We've all been there. When you feel sorry for someone or think you can rescue someone, you're rescuing or trying to save a part of yourself that you still have an attachment with. And it's the attachment that brings the suffering, because it's activating something in you where you go, okay, and we've all done this. We've all, you know, and there's nothing wrong with helping, but you want to get to the place where it's a place of compassion. And sometimes in a place of your heart being open and being compassionate, you don't help somebody. Or you what was that?
Oh, it just, my camera just
Yes.
got full.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
It's okay.
It's when you're in this place of openness, compassion, there's not an attachment where you get pulled out of that place to do something that might not really help somebody. You know, we've all seen the stories. You know, it's like this little example. You know, we want to help a bum on the street, or, you know, and we've all give them money and then see them go straight to the liquor store. Or, you know what I'm saying? And that's probably not helping them. It might for a second, but, you know, long run, it's not going to help them. You know, how do we help people fish instead of how do we get in reactive places with people where they become parasitic, or they become codependent, or they become, we all go through these things. It's just human thing. So when you're in this place of this wholeness and oneness, more and more and more of how you can really radiate out and help lots of people instead of getting trapped or captured in patterns that are familiar will come to you. So again, it's about taking that responsibility to, it's a choice about how do I choose to live my life, or how am I choosing to view myself and others. And it sounds very simplistic, and it sounds complicated, both things at the same time, but it's not. When you literally stop, work consciously on not seeing people as male, female, black, white, this, that, you'll start to shift a lot of things in your life. It's a very basic kind of thing. Does anybody have any questions or anything you wanted to ask or share? Because everybody's been going through tons and tons of stuff. It's a big, big shift right now. I'm just laughing, and your aura is like, oh my God. Your energy, yeah, yours, yeah. Everybody's, but your energy field is like.
What's going on with it?
Well, I can tell you two things, and this is going to lead me into a story and many stories, but this is a very important story, and I've talked a little bit about this story. The doors open really big right now for transition. People, animals, everybody's making transition. There's just tons of death, tons of endings. So it's just been this incredible time for everybody. So anyway, I'm going to go into a very, very short story because today I have had a couple of really hard days. Once again with the refinancing of my home, it's been a nightmare, and even the levels that I've disconnected from it, I thought, oh, okay. We're supposed to have a closing Friday. Now it's supposed to be tomorrow. And now it's like, oh, guess what? There's this, there's that. I finally just have gotten the big picture. And I thought, well, I just need to find a way to pay off. I just need to win the lottery or something. Who needs a mortgage? Who needs refinance? No, seriously. The last few days it's come to me. Maybe I'm not supposed to refinance. Maybe there's some other way God's going to bring, Spirit is going to bring another way for it to be dealt with. So, and I think that's what happens when you get so fixated on things, that it has to be this way. And then when you keep hitting your head against the wall and it's not that way, and it's, all these kind of things. Yes. Interesting. So I've just had tons and tons and tons of signs, and I have for a long time, about being in my own life and how I get so busy and consumed with certain things that I've missed out on a lot of things, signals I've gotten, or places I should have, being involved in my life. So, last fall, my 18-year-old cat died. My red husky girl died unexpectedly in December. My mother died April 10th. My aunt died June 30th. It's just been death. And it's been not just that, I've had death of relationships, I've had death of just everywhere. It's been just endings. And that's okay, because I'm a Scorpio. That's kind of a Scorpio's life. We rule the house of death, reverse, so it's kind of like, oh, it's just another day, but it's more intense, but we know that vibration. And a dear, dear, dear friend, probably the most important people to me on this earth, just because of how we first ever connected. It was this is in 1975, this person literally saved my life from a very bad situation. So when you connect with people on that level, and you have a profound, how anything starts is always a sign of, we just pick up where we left off with people from other times and places. And so I had this profound experience, and sometime I'll tell the whole story. I'm trying to write about all these different things, but when you meet somebody for the first time and I was in Broad Ripple, I was doing spiritual work, but I also had an Art Nouveau, Art Deco store, and what's now the across from Good Earth, Canal Bistro. I had an antique store there. And I was, all of a sudden I get this bizarre phone call, and that this demonic voice was on the other end of the phone. And I was very young, very naive, had no idea who would be saying on the other, but I mean, it sounded very, not like a voice that would be a person's voice, saying, I'm going to kill you, I know where you are, I'm going to cut you up in little pieces and throw you in the canal. And I was like, literally, this is what's being said to me when this person, Forrest, my friend, never laid eyes on him. He's 9 years older than me. He's a very well-known designer here in town, decorator, designer. But this is a long, long time ago. So anyway, he'd heard about my shop. Well, he happens to just wander in my shop, never laid eyes on this person before in my life, and he sees this look of whatever on my face. Well, he grabs the phone, and the voice is still speaking, and he was like, who is, I mean, he just like, whoa. He just like, went right in there and was like, so we became friends, and he became friend, and I was married at that time to a person who had been a Broadway actor. He'd been in Jesus Christ Superstar, and I should have known he played Caiaphas in the original cast of John. But it's how I got to Indiana. I was from Connersville originally, but when I lived in New York City, I only knew this man 3 months. It's a whole story too, how we met, got married, and he had gotten a movie role in California. So we left, he'd never lived outside of New York. We were on our way to California. So we stopped in Connersville to visit my mother, and the people that were doing the movie, 2 people died, so they canceled the movie. So he freaks out, and he goes, we're going to Indianapolis. I'm like, no, really? No, we're not going to Indianapolis. I didn't want to leave New York. What do you mean we're going to? And when growing up in Connersville, we always went to Cincinnati a lot more than we ever even came to Indianapolis to go shopping, because Connersville is like 60 miles from each place. And I remember thinking, this is not good. Where? So June 5th of 1974, I landed. That's how I got here. I was really forced here. That's how I got here. And through weird. So anyway, so that's just a little background on that. So get here, and like I said, in the store, the demonic voice. Forrest got to be friends with that person and I, and all of a sudden he's going, Marilene, he was the voice on the phone. He wants you dead. And I'm like, no, who couldn't? No, I was just in denial, even though this person was very charming and charismatic, and we knew Andy Warhol. We knew, when we lived in New York, he knew Ben Vereen. We knew, anybody you could think of. Because he was an actor, and and then I didn't realize till once we got married that he was gay, and he didn't want to have anything to do with me, and it was all just a show. It was all just a front, And I had really long hair, and the minute we got married, he cut all my hair off and dressed me like it's a whole. Trust me, it's a wonder I'm halfway normal. So and people go, well, you're so psychic. Why didn't you know this? There's certain things in life that we know, or you understand, or you experience, but you can't avoid. There's certain things that if you just have to go through it. And I've probably been through anything you could think of in this level, because I had many weird experiences before that with relationships. I've never had my life is just like this. So, but it's how I can help people, because there's not any story that a person comes to me about that I probably haven't experienced, So anyway, Forrest was like, it's a very dramatic story. So Valentine's Day was coming there. Well, Forrest was an artist, and this person was an artist, and he's doing this painting he says it's going to be for Valentine's Day. Well, I'll never forget, Forrest comes over, he goes, that's you in the picture, and that's Othello. And it is this painting of a woman floating in the water. What's her name? I can't think of her name. It's a classic story. Othelio. I can't remember the exact name, and it says, "I never promised you a rose garden." And he was like painting this And so he comes and goes, no, this is bad. And I'll never forget because he gave me $100 bill and he said, you put this in your purse and if you need this, you escape. And no, it was just going, when you have a bond like that with somebody, and it was just this whole, and we were very, very close for years. And he also connected me with huge connection in the community with my readings. So open doors for, so we had very, very close connection. And through other things I won't go into now, through the years we both had hurts, disappointments with each other. A lot of it was other people getting in the middle. We all had those connections, and then things happen and misperceptions happen. And so there'd been we hadn't seen each other for a long time. But he's one of those people that ever since I've ever known him for 38 years, probably 6-7 times a year, I see very vivid dreams. There's not a separation. So I had heard he'd been ill, different things had happened, and I had procrastinated trying to go through the channels I would have to go through to connect. And then he passed. He died on the 17th of July. So it was like, and I heard about it right away. Somebody called me right away about it. And it was heartbreaking, but it was also, Spirit had already kind of said, well, that's just the way it's going to be. It's just, for whatever reason, that's the way it's going to be. So that was the 17th. Morning of the 18th, I am in this very profound, deep sleep, where I'm awake in the sleep. And I feel somebody holding my hand. And to this minute, I feel a sensation in my hand and arm that is otherworldly. It's like it'll probably never leave me. It's like it's the deepest impression you can. It was just this impression of someone holding my hand. So I wake up, and all my cats are looking at me, like somebody was here. There's something going on. And they're like pawing at me, looking. Go back to sleep. Go back into the dream. And all I could think of when I woke up was, wow, I've got to tell Roger. I came up with Roger and Joseph. Well, Roger and Jill are friends of mine that are here, and they're who's filming. And I said, and I knew in this, and I kept memorizing it, Roger and Joseph, Roger and Joseph. And I thought, this is something that has to heal. I have to tell Roger that, I don't know who this Joseph is, but he wants to make peace, or something is going to make peace here. And then I woke up again, and after I got up and was out and about, I realized that also it was Forrest who had my hand. There's no sensation I would ever have. I know his energy is him. Just like what had happened probably 6 weeks ago with my mother. My brother had all these dreams with my mom, and she died, and blah, blah, blah. I hadn't. She'd been in here throwing things around. She was still like tearing up my stuff. Like when she lived here, when she had dementia, she was still throwing stuff around, hiding stuff. I thought, okay. One night I go to sleep, same thing, go to sleep, and I see a woman. I didn't see her face, by a stone wall. I go over to the stone wall. I go over to the woman, and I hug her. And all of a sudden, the hugging turned into, there was no form. There was only this most incredible energy of love and heaven, and you didn't want to leave wherever this was. You didn't want to leave whoever this was or whatever this was. And same thing, I'd wake up and I'd go back into the dream because I didn't want it to stop. And again, I woke up and the cats were all around me looking like somebody's here. It took me a few hours after I woke up to realize it was my mother, that it was the feeling of my mother. And so it's the same thing. Love never dies. We just change form. We live in people don't want to believe in this or that, but there's consciousness that lives, and there's energy that goes way beyond. So I've had very profound experiences, and then I had a big healing a few days later on Sunday, and so many people I hadn't even seen in 30 years, 40 years, at a gathering that they had for my friend. And so it was a really just amazing thing that's happened. And there were all these pictures, I put them on Facebook, of me in the 70s, and some of you probably saw them, and yeah, just a really profound healing. So anyway, I've had a few other rough days here with the refi and just dark energy stuff. Like, I'm not even going to because I don't want to repeat it. It was just dark, just bizarre. So I come in tonight, and here's Roger and Jill, and they go, "We have a story for you." And I'm going, "Okay, what?" You want to share?
Well, yes, not even 5 days later, I have to kind of go back. Joe was one of our teammates, and we've had a lot of dark times with our teammates. A lot of people have turned against us. It's been pretty tough times as far as that goes. But out of all of the teammates that were friends, I'd say Joe, I was closest to Joe, and we always looked forward to hunting together. And just this real deep bond. Well, we were supposed to hunt with him, and he was excited.
It's about ghost hunting, not hunting animals.
Yeah.
And what was funny was when I saw you guys, like, I don't even know what it was, but I told you, I go, "Do you know somebody named Joseph?" Because, and then you knew right away. Yeah.
I only know one Joseph.
Right.
And, he to make a long story short, we were kind of estranged, and I was really, really, really feeling bad. And I grieved over it.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing worse when you have a really strong bond, and then there's this, you don't even know why. The
Yeah.
people betray you or abandon you, or we don't even know what it is, they just don't have anything to do with you.
Yeah, and against this backdrop of all of these people, there were people, at one time there was a person who didn't even know me attacking me.
Right.
And all of these people who I had helped in one way or another, tried to make their lives better,
Yes.
none of them spoke up.
Right.
None of them come forward.
That's the hardest part of all. I know.
We
And
even said to Joe, evil exists when good men do nothing. And they just step
There's
forward.
nothing worse than that silence or that, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to make a long story short, not even a couple days after she tells me that, Joe writes to us.
Yeah.
Just totally out of the blue.
I can't even tell you, it took everything in me. After a couple things happened right before, like starting about 5 o'clock, my world got rocked again with all this crap. And that's how the dark energies work. Just it was an assault of some stuff again with this refinancial thing. And I'm like, oh my God. And so and Spirit kept saying, you know what? Just this is, and I walk in and you share the story. And again, it's not about being right, but it's about the most miraculous thing. Is how I had this miraculous connection with my friend. And knowing that no matter what happened or didn't happen in this level, we'll never be separated. And then getting the verification that it was a dual message. That's what was so profoundly interesting, was that, and it was this hand of friendship. It was this strong, and it was so, they blazed it in my brain, Roger, Joseph. And they called him by his proper, and I thought, well, I don't think I'm crazy when I tell him, but, and then in such a short time that then I know. That's when you know that on a higher level, you don't even know sometimes how God's working, how things are working, how healing is working. And whatever was going on, it was all in the mix there. And then you get the proof of it by the communication, direct communication.
And you have to understand too, Joe is a prison guard.
He's a prison guard, so he's not like a, yeah, there you go.
He's a very big, burly, like you think of like someone that's very manly. This was very hard for him.
Wow.
He said it took him months before he could get to that point where he said, I was wrong, I'm sorry.
Wow. Yeah.
It was really difficult for him.
Yeah. So many times, and I think this was my lesson just with so many things recently, where you know, in your lower mind, you get mad at people, or you think blah, 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 or you know, and you realize how fear or whatever has blocked you from doing the right thing, or from connecting or not connecting with people. And how simple it is when you heal whatever's keeping you away from a situation. All it would have taken was doing this, this, this. Then it's cleared up. And so that's the beauty of that story too, because we're in that kind of time of healing so many things. So you never know what is. People often see me in dreams. I think I'm always tired. I think I'm just always everywhere doing things. I get like things almost every day. People go, yeah, you were at my house and we were doing this. And I'm like, oh my God, well, no wonder. Oh my God. Oh. And this is where somebody else is here tonight. Megan fits into my story. That's why I knew, and I got excited too for another reason. Before Forrest as he was dying, but I did not know on this level he was dying, I had 3 nights where I literally thought I was going to die. All I saw was I'd be up, as I always am in the middle of the night. But I mean, this was like dark night of the soul. I mean, this was not, I was not depressed. This was like, I thought, oh, okay, I see them. They're coming for me. Okay. It's like, whoa, this must just be the time. And I was getting horrible chest pains. I was getting like pains through my left arm and through my heart and through my, and I mean, I was thinking, and not in a negative way, but it was like my life was flashing in front of me, and I was feeling things and seeing things, and just kind of like what people go through, I'm sure, when they're in transition. And it was not fun. Some of it was, but some of it was like, whoa, this is not fun. The icky parts were not fun. There's maybe some good times, but the bad ones were like, woo, I don't want to remember that one. So I fellow friend and wonderful healer and intuitive, my friend Megan. We were, I think it started on private message on Facebook, right?
Yes.
I private messaged you, and I said, oh my God, I need your help. And so she said, okay, relax. And she started sending me energy, and within minutes, it was just gone. It was healed up. And then I found out and then Forrest had passed. So I'm sure that I was with him in his transition.
Is heart related? Or?
He'd had cancer, and they had of the esophagus, and they had found another mass, I found out, and I know him, and he was like done. He was like, he found that out on Thursday, he was gone the next Tuesday. He died in his sleep. But I'm sure what he was feeling was just again, making that decision that he was done, that he wasn't going to go through any more treatments or anything, and he was just done. So, yeah. So then I just thought about how this connects with the other story. You've seen the butterfly pictures I put up. So then, yesterday, day before yesterday, Monday, I go to Elisa Petruzzi. She's a wonderful cranial sacral person who I met many years ago. I had lost touch with, who just has come back in my life. Actually, so she's working on me, and she goes, did you think you were going to have a heart attack? And I go, yeah. And she goes, you're not. It's all this stuff in the back. You've got this big ball of what happened to you? And she did one little movement, and all of it the last of it just went totally away. It was like, oh my God, thank God. And we were talking, and before I had gone into, we were early to see her. Glenda drove me up there. So it's beautiful, huge butterfly and these purple bushes. So I started, and Glenda goes, that's Forrest. And she started going, Forrest, come here. And the butterfly would fly. And the butterfly would fly. No, Glenda, you guys know. She's going, Forrest, get over here. And so here comes the butterfly. It's like flying on me and flying around. And I'm going, oh my God. So I started taking pictures. I still got to get the video up. And someone could have the video on the Facebook. But, and it was just amazing. I don't know, you have to look at these pictures, you've not seen them on Facebook, they're fabulous. So, yeah, of course, butterflies are a sign of death, rebirth. A lot of people will see birds, butterflies. It's all transformational. It's how the people on the other side they're easy people. They're people to me. Um, that kingdom can be used to communicate. And it was funny because at the gathering, one person that had been around for us had said that right away they had seen butterflies. They had seen lots of butterflies, so it was really interesting. So I go in, and Alicia's doing her thing, and I was telling her about that, and she was talking about. She goes, "Didn't Merlin just have a birthday?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "I always remember Merlin's birthday," and I had forgotten this story. I used to be booked up 2-3 years ahead of time with readings. This is when I had my TV shows and different things. And so she'd been on my books for a long time for July 20th, 1985. Well, July 20th, 1985 was when Merlin was born. So she got the call that her appointment was canceled. She says, "I never forget because I look so forward to seeing you." And you had Merlin. And I had done actually readings up to 11:30, up till I went to labor 11:30 the night before I was doing readings. So I took 7 months off, and then I didn't see her till July of 1986. But it was just, and so that was a story to me of death, rebirth, or of reminders of all those years ago. And because 30 years ago, yesterday, I bought the center. It's just why I was hoping we'd have the closing. I bought the space, yeah. So a lot of stuff from many, many years ago that are coming full circle. And it's happened. The reason I share this with people, I have heartbreaks. I have things that my life is not perfect. I am far from perfect. My life is filled with the gamut of everything that we all experience because we're all human. And it's important to know that whatever, we all go through the same things. And I know that it has been a rough time for people. It's a miraculous time. There's wonderful things, but it's been very, very heavy, very, very profound, life-changing things are happening right now. So I would encourage everybody here, don't run away. Don't procrastinate. If you know something, act on it. Life's short. Life is very, very, very short. Don't put things off. Do what you need to do. Be in your truth. Feel safe enough to speak out about things. Don't worry if people aren't going to like it, or it's your life. And you don't want to, anytime we're not in our truth or not in our true power and we walk away from something, that's how we fragment. That's how we start to form schisms. And they're not real schisms that are forever, but the house divided can't stand. So if you're in a divided space within your own house, within your own body temple, and you know something, but then you're not doing it, or you're going along with the group or what they're wanting, or not, and you're not speaking up, you're going to have to repeat it. So why repeat it? And why hang on to things that don't work anymore? And it's one of the hardest things because, and a lot of people are calling up, they're going, "I'm so sad, I'm crying, I feel like I'm mourning." Well, you are. We're all mourning our old selves, our old lives. We're mourning what was. We're mourning the selves we were before. We're mourning even things that we had negative attachment. It was familiar. So even bad things, sometimes we get so used to being into suffering that when you learn you don't want to suffer anymore and you let go of it, you can actually miss because it's familiar. So we're all going through this realizations of who am I now? How this new, it's not really a new self, it's your real self, but it's a transitional time where you will feel sadness. You'll feel the gamut of emotions. So it's important just to feel them and know that it's okay. Because I think the other thing, we get so hung up and again, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. What's perfect? You just be in your life, you just feel your things, and you just be joyful. That's the most important thing. Don't let anything rob your joy. And that's what I decided with these idiots that are persecuting me. And they are idiots, or I wouldn't be calling them that. But they are. And it's dark forces working. I mean, sometime I'll tell you, I'll write about this, and nobody will believe. Well, people who were around saw it. It's stuff you can't make up that's happened with my stuff. It's somebody purposely did something to try to block my loan. So it'll all come. And so I figure, you know what? I can't be captured anymore. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And there's another way, another solution for something. So it's because you don't, and that's it. It's so easy to get trapped in feeling. It brings up any time you felt like you were a victim before, you were victimized. It's easy to get into that place of and you got to feel that and work through it, but you don't want to stay there. It's like Churchill said, if you're going through hell, keep on going. I mean, we all know hell, but you don't want to stay there. You might visit it, but you don't. There's other places to hang out, and you don't have to stay in these awful states of consciousness or lack of consciousness. So, anything you want to ask or share, or thank you all for coming? Did you guys have something?
Well, yeah, with the butterflies and everything. Okay, I have actually pictures on my phone. There's this blue butterfly, and it's actually an endangered species. I looked it up, and it landed on Blue, my dog, and then it landed on me, and it let me hold it for a long time. It actually looked like a ring on my hand. Like it just sat there. I looked up the mummy that you saw, that you went to see that.
At the Richmond Museum, yeah.
Right. On the sides of the coffin, the wings of the same butterfly are on there.
Oh my God! There you go. And we were all at that investigation like Saturday in Richmond at the.
And I have the pictures. I'll show you
Henry
guys.
County. Yeah.
And then I saw 2 nights ago a Luna moth.
Oh, I love those.
I've never
They're
seen them
so
before.
beautiful. I saw them at Serpent Mound. I've seen them only at Serpent Mound. I've seen them out in the cabins. I've seen them. They're huge.
Yeah,
The
they're
Luna moths,
coming
yeah.
around a lot. It's just really interesting.
But that's neat about the blue butterfly and on the site, because I've been wanting to kind of look at what that is on that sarcophagus. Oh, that's see, we'll have to go over there.
Do you want to talk about the mummy?
Yeah.
Creeping up on that?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
I'm curious.
God.
Because I
Yeah.
have a huge Egyptian library,
Oh,
so I
good.
will bring my books and we'll try to
Absolutely.
do some research. And
There's
figure
only
out
2 mummies in the state of Indiana, and they're both in Richmond, Indiana. One of them's at the Wayne County Museum, and the other one's at at Earlham. And 3 or 4 years ago, it was the Dan T. Hall's movie Unmasking the Dead. It was 2008. One of the investigations we did was that museum, and was of the mummy. And I'll never forget, I was always in New Jersey doing a lot of work, and I didn't know they were filming with another group. And I called Dan up. I go, Dan, go stand over here. It's in the movie. And he goes, we're filming. I said, I know. He goes, how do you know? I said, because I'm a psychic. That's why I'm in your movies. What's wrong with you? But you're in New Jersey. Yeah, I know. Just met him in New Jersey. And so they went right where I told them to stand, and they started picking up all this energy stuff was going on. Their meters started going up. That was a little piece. I haven't even shared with people the background on that one. So anyway, we're filming this, and I'm in looking at the mummy, and I go, I heard it talk to me. And it made this loud sound. And I goes, can anybody hear that? And they were going, no. And in the EVP, it's like, it goes, rawr. It makes this very loud sound. So, and when I had first gone in there, I thought it was a female, then I thought it was a male, and then come to find out, the mummy that's in there is not the original mummy. It's they had gotten switched. There had been a female high priestess thing with her. She wasn't there, and they put a man. Yeah. So Saturday night when we went over to do another investigation, we were to do a meditation, and then we were doing a fundraiser for the museum and some ghost hunts. We had Roger and Jill and we'd gone into I said, let's go into the mummy room real fast. Let's see what we pick up. So I went in, it felt totally different than other times I'd been in there. And all of a sudden I felt this arcing of energy between that mummy and the other mummy. And I go, you know what? I think mummy's not just trapped in here. Mummy's free. She's running around. So and the room was dark, so we were trying to get other kind of activities. So I went over to this one little encasement, and I couldn't see what it was. And I go, wow, the mummy's really drawn. These are their things. And then Jill says,
That was all
a woman's
cosmetics, and all the little bottles and all the little personal things.
She there, right.
It was great.
Exactly. So it was the female that had originally been in there communicating, not the, yes. So yeah, we've got to go back. And then you're picking up on the butter. Yeah, okay, here we go.
I picked up on those female as well.
Yeah. And see, this is the whole thing. There's no separation. Once you start to know that literally everybody, there's not 6 degrees of separation. It's going to be less where you, it all just starts to make sense and connect. And so it's a big time in life. Big time in life. It is. Yeah, and somebody I've known since I was in the 4th grade, Mr. Larry Brown's here. We rode the school bus together. We hated each other when we were younger. He denies us. We used to pull my hair. And the teachers that were mean to me liked him and hated me.
That's right. I never pulled her hair, but they all liked me, the teachers did.
Yes, they did. Yep.
But I spent some hall time too.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
couldn't seem to sit still in class.
I'm sure.
And I've done real well tonight. I'm sitting right in that cold draft.
Oh,
I'm about
sorry.
to die here.
Well, you should have told me. See, it's all it takes. See? See how quick you have to die. And then through really weird.
So much better. Was that killing you?
Well, you should have said something.
My knees are
Well, see? What we did was turn it off or put the pillow in front. See, don't be suffering. That's what we do. I'll sit and
What do
go,
you mean, don't be suffering?
well, why don't you say something? That's what I'm saying. See, do you feel it now? Do you feel it now?
It's a long-term suffering.
Long-term suffering, yeah. Probably. Yeah. Well, actually, it was soon after we did that Unmasking the Dead filming. I went to a high school reunion where we all turned 60, and that's when Larry and I kind of connected up. So anyway, he lives in Sarasota. So anyway.
Told not to come close to me.
Yes, this is true. No, it's true. Oh, we think we're like, no, people were like, no, you ride with us because that Larry Brown's going to be there. And here's the most hilarious thing of all, because these people who think they're guarding you, we were down in Nashville, Indiana, and the first phase of this party for this, our reunion thing, was in the middle of the park, some park down there. So you have to wait. There's a Brown County State Park. So his name's Larry Brown. And there's a car right behind us. So we get out of the car, and all of a sudden we see somebody with like Keystone beer going, Marilene. That was like, it was hilarious. You couldn't have made it. It was like what? We were actually when until you moved in town. His dad was a minister. That's why he's such a brat. That's how that worked. When we lived out in the country, our properties met each other. Yeah, it's interesting life and is interesting stories, many stories. I had no idea it was gonna show up again. Thank you, showing up.
I'm a bad penny.
Yeah, that's it. So anyway, thank you all for coming. We'll be here again next Wednesday, and I'm sure there's going to be an amazing amount of things that happen between now and then, because don't be afraid of the truth. Don't be captured in the dark energy or the negative energy. Just be present, and it's all good. It's a good thing. So, a little closing prayer. We're grateful to Spirit for this beautiful evening. We're grateful for life. It's a very important time to value life and to know there is no death. And we ask the peace that passes all understanding to come into the heart, minds, bodies, and spirits of everyone. Amen.
And
So it's a good one. Good one. Okay.